Hi, this is Penny once again, and this is season two of my conversation with friends. And since many of us, or many parts of of the globe, of the world, has been eased up on restrictions, we just like to find out how people are doing again all over the world. And I am very excited today that I have my friend Lorna, who has been a friend of mine from the Canfield group, and we have been together in the assisting team of Train the Trainer Live. We were together last year, and we were together online last week. Last week. So, Lorna, can you introduce yourself? Where you are you from? Which part of Canada? And what do you do?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Penny. This is a lot of fun. I love the idea of conversations. My name is Lorna Scott, and I am from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. I'm about an hour away from the US border, and I'm the second most western province in Canada. So I help people online, which is why I think there's some fabulous things going to happen for people throughout this pandemic as they move forward with it. So I help people launch their courses and their memberships with Facebook ads, using paid traffic to find their audience, to be able to find their students and their members, and to be able to grow their business. And this is such a great time to do that. So um, I'm loving what I do. It's good.
I love what you do. Can you help me?
I can. Yes, I can.
This is the time for you. This is the time for you.
Yeah.
And has your business been affected because of this? Has it grown?
You know, I wish I could say that there's been a big growth. I haven't had a big growth in my business. People, I think, are just, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is they are just realizing that the online world is where they need to be. So there's that group of people where they've spent a lot of their career in live events doing in-person or, one-on-one work. And now they want to figure out how to do that online. There's a group of people that, in a couple of communities that I'm in, who were working towards an online business and are a little shy of whether or not to go ahead with it, worried about, because people and their financial situation, and there are lots of people financially affected who aren't going to be able to take part in some things. But the online course, like people in the personal development looking for that right now, has exponentially increased. And looking at paid traffic and paying for advertising and your marketing, the costs with Facebook ads right now are low. I can't say an all-time low, but I've heard, 2016, I haven't seen prices this low since
Oh,
2016. So it's a good time to get in, and it's a good time to work with it. I think I've had 3 calls this week, so we'll see what happens for those people who are looking at launching. And but I've seen a lot. I just had a client finish her launch, and she built her list. She did a lot of amazing things and got her sales. Finances were a problem for some people, but she'll find a different solution for them.
hmm. I like what you do. So let's talk after. I like I know we spoke about this because we were seatmates many times in the assisting team, and we were mystery his secret partner for one time. And I know you do this. So you do this work at home.
The TTT work,
No, no, the Facebook ads and helping
yeah,
people build their online work at home.
that I work from home.
So how has this lockdown affected you? The lockdown that we had affected you?
Yeah, business wise, it's no different. I still sit on my couch with my computer or sit in my office. It hasn't really affected me in that way at all, as far as movement. So sometimes I feel like I live in a little bit of a bubble in that way, and people are still advertising. So
Yeah.
it's starting to that that is starting to move again. I think that it was stalled a little bit, but people need to work. They need to do
Yes.
something. So
Yes, people need to
yeah,
work.
yeah.
I need to work. Yeah,
Yeah.
people need to work. So, what about family, Lorna? Is your family with you in this lockdown?
Well, some of them are. My son is living with me, and he has visitation with his kids. So we do allow that to happen, to still continue, that he sees his boys every couple of weeks. And until somebody maybe shows signs of being sick, we're going to continue with that. And I'm really lucky because my daughter lives only like 2 blocks away. So even though we have decided that we're going to keep our household separate and not do the in-person visiting like we used to, I still get to see my older grandsons because they can go out on their scooters and their bikes by themselves. So they often will stop by to say hi, and they ring the doorbell. I hand them a couple of Oreo cookies and away they go. So I can't miss them, but yeah, but at least I get to see them.
Oh, that's nice. I haven't seen my grandchildren for a while, but it will
Yeah,
pass. It will pass. So,
yeah. I'm so lucky. I really am.
yeah, we are all lucky because we're still here, we're healthy, and we should be grateful for that, right?
Very grateful. Yes.
Grateful. So, what is it like in Medicine Hat? Is that right? Medicine Hat?
Yes.
How
Yep.
is it like there now? Is it post lockdown? Is it gradual lockdown? Has it eased up? What is it?
Well, I think we have a different name for it, or at least I do. We call it self-isolation.
Mhm.
I guess it's lockdown. We don't have police patrolling the streets to see,
Oh,
stopping people to see who's, why are you out? We don't have restrictions to that point yet. They do have some power for like restaurants that have to be closed, like all the services that are closed. The there's certainly the police have the authority to give fines for that, but they're not, we still have some freedom in being able to go out, as long as we're not, we keep the 6 feet apart. We are in our cars only with people that we live in the same house with.
mhm.
That's but there's some of them are guidelines. They're not, enforceable. You just want to follow them. But there are things like our playgrounds are closed, the schools are closed, all the recreation facilities are closed, anything where people would gather in large crowds. Churches are closed. Of course, all the events, like all the weddings, everything like that, that is closed. I'm not sure how it's affecting the businesses here. I'm not really out in my local community a lot. The small businesses, I think, are hurting. I know one lady who has a very small ladies clothing store. Like
Mhm.
she's the owner. She's pretty much the only employee, I think. Maybe she's got one others, but it hurts her a lot to not be open. She just had all her spring and summer inventory come in, so she's got all the bills
Mhm.
for the clothing. But she's done some amazing things. She had somebody help her put pictures of stuff up on Facebook, and she's selling things at 50% off to keep some money coming in. And she's arranged for, how they can pick it up, or I don't know if she's dropping it off. I'm not even sure what she's doing. And it's final sale. You can't, if you buy it and it doesn't fit or you don't like it, you keep it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
it's,
as it
you know,
as is where is. Yes.
but it's she's really still worked her butt off to continue to have an income. But we are looking at getting some restrictions lifted within the next couple of weeks if all things go well. And locally, I think we were at 26 or 27 cases total in the city that I live in, and I don't know, 16 or 17 are active. So our risk is still quite low. We
The
know that
population you mentioned, population of
oh, yeah, yeah,
63,000
63,000. Yeah.
and 26 cases.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
one of the jokes in the province for the government is that we're the forgotten corner. That we don't, when they announce funding for things, they always forget about our little corner because there's hardly anybody here. So that's what I said about the pandemic. We're even the forgotten corner for the pandemic. It doesn't even know we're here.
Lucky you.
Yeah, but it is a little close because there's a town about an hour away that has a meat packing plant, and there's an outbreak there.
Oh.
And I don't know how many people, but lots of people live in Medicine Hat and drive out to work there. So there's I think we're all just kind of waiting to see what happens in a couple of weeks. And a lot of those people come here there's not a lot of shopping, but they would go grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what's going to happen, whether there'll be any increase from that meat plant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've got two major outbreaks, two big plants in Alberta, are where most of our cases are, and long-term care are where the other outbreaks are. So sometimes it just seems really weird because we just don't seem to have the numbers yet, but that changes so fast.
You don't have the numbers, period. Not yet. No, you don't want the yet.
Yes, we don't have the numbers. We'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I live in the city of Manila, just to let you know. This is the metro of the Philippines. And when you say Philippines, you remember Manila. Manila is only one city in the national capital region. And that's why you will hear, I live in the city wherein my firewall is the firewall of my neighbor. No backyards, no gardens, nothing. So you will hear trucks driving, essential food. I have an orphanage across the street. So in a few minutes, you'll hear the children singing. So please bear with the music. Yeah. And it's good. They're having normalcy in their lives. Yeah. Okay. So you did mention that sometime soon the golf courses will open.
Apparently, our golf courses can open this weekend with restrictions. The restaurants and the clubhouses, like they can't be open. So I don't know what other restrictions there are, but that was a big outcry here, like huge outcry that the golf courses couldn't be open.
And it's not winter anymore.
No, we're just at the end of, we're still in springtime, and just heading into summer. So the golfers have been waiting a long time.
And I know in Canada, most of the time it's cold because you're in the northern hemisphere. Yeah. So summer is a luxury, right?
I've never thought of it that way, but you're right. It is a luxury, and you just want to spend as much time outside as you can, because we spend a lot of time inside. So, thankfully we can at least be outside, and we can go to parks as long as we're separate from people. So we can still at least go find some trees every now and then.
And may I ask you, what temperature is summer there?
When we get into summer, we'd be anywhere from 25 to over 30 Celsius.
Ah, envious. We're in summer here, 36.
Yeah, we in Medicine Hat, like where I live, we're in the very tip of the desert that goes all the way to Arizona.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes we'll get 35, 36. Some summers we might get 2 weeks of 32 to 36. We've had up to 40, but it's not the whole summer. It's sometimes a day here and a day there. I would say 30 to 33 would likely be, the normal hottest. But it depends on the summer.
So I'm sure the golfers are eager to go out and do their golf. So what do you think, Lorna, given this, I wouldn't say post-COVID, because COVID, we don't know how long it will last. And they have been saying this virus will be here in different mutations, different kinds, different names. So I don't know. what do you think post self-isolation would be?
Hmm. That's it's one of those things that I've thought about and then thought I don't want to think about because I'm not sure, given what they're saying about how long it might take to get a vaccine and how long, or, any kind of treatment that we know is going to work. And in medical research, I don't really want, if they haven't been doing research on it, I don't want a treatment that they've only spent 4 or 5 months on.
Yeah.
It's still experimental. I guess if I had to, I would, still do something. But I just can't. I just don't want to envision a world where we have to be 6 feet apart all the time. And yet they're talking about that piece, at least here, talking about keeping that restriction for quite a while. And I can see that happening. I can see why. So I can see that happening. I, seeing the restaurants, they're going to be at maybe half capacity
Mm-hmm.
because they have to have so much room for people. It just is a, I don't know that I can really visualize what it's going to be like. I like to think that in a year from now, it's all going to be like it was in the best of ways.
In the best of ways.
Um,
Yeah.
I hope through this that there's some realization that we're all one. I mean, look at where you are and where I am, and we're together.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many countries we had together when we were doing the TTD training
Yes.
earlier this week. And even that, for people to be able to take what was a live event and put it online and have the impact that it did on the students like it did for us, like it's amazing. So we've got some wonderful new learnings, and in-person's way, still has its advantages and is better for a lot of things. But I think that we're going to be able to connect more and realize that we can do that more often. And we
Yes.
can do it in different ways. And we can have conversations. It doesn't always have to be about business. And then, when I think about just me going out for a walk, I just want to be able to go to the park with my dog and not have to walk in the bush to try to stay 6 feet away from somebody. I hope that happens.
Not in the bush. Just out, walk out in the streets with your dog.
Yeah.
In the park.
Yeah.
Lorna, I know we've conversed because we were secret partners, so we've had a chance to converse. But this is this is really the first time that we're talking like this. And when we are in the assisting team, we hardly get a chance to speak. Because after you go to your room, I go to my room, I'm with my husband, so I have to take care of him and so on and so forth. But this lockdown has made me connected to so many people in the team. Which
I,
is great.
I think this is a brilliant, like you are brilliant, totally brilliant for doing this.
Thank you.
It's I think valuable. It's a way for us to connect, to get to know each other better, to get to know all the other people you've interviewed better. And you've made it so easy. It's just a conversation. Like
It's a conversation. It's a conversation that we never had. Now we have a reason to converse. So, Lorna, two last questions. Two last questions in our conversation. If people say, I have many students. I teach in college, as you know, and they are so lazy to do their work, forget their finals, forget their assignments, and grades are due. I have to remind them that you have to do your work, and I don't want to fail you, not in this pandemic. And they say, Miss, I just am not motivated. I just don't see the reason because I can't see the future. So how do you, how do we stay optimistic in this time of we don't know when this will end?
oh wow, great question. um I can talk a little bit about me for what I keep to one thing that I've likely done since starting doing some of the work with Jack and
Mhm.
like at Breakthrough to Success. And I keep away like the news. I don't watch a lot of news. If there's things that come through my Facebook news feed, because I do Facebook ads, so I'm on Facebook a lot.
That's
You
your
know,
work.
yeah, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's a distraction. But I scroll past some of the especially conversations that are getting into deep discussions, and try not to let that come into my life. And that may sound, I don't know, for some people that may sound like it's not even possible. But
Mhm.
I say, try it even for a week, is just to not read the news, not pay any attention to what's happening with the pandemic. Those 3 days we did the online, who had time to check? And the world didn't end,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what was going on, and it all worked out. That's one thing, is just to pay attention to what you are bringing in and what you are watching. uh, Reality for some, and I would think college students, they want to be with their people. Like
Yes.
that the social part of college is so crucial for them. So they could use something like Zoom,
Mhm.
they could Skype, they could use Facebook, Facebook Messenger. They just rolled out where you can have 8 people on a video call now, so they could use Facebook. There's so many ways to be able to connect now. So being able to do that, the I think it one thing that advice that I didn't take, that I will often give to people for different reasons, is to have a routine,
Okay.
even if it's a new routine. And when my husband had cancer and he passed away, when I asked the social worker just in those last few days that my husband was alive, what do I do? Like, after all this, and he said, get back into your routine as soon as you can. And because of circumstances, that didn't happen. I didn't get back into a routine, and till I started working with Jack and creative routines. I think that's one thing that's kept me optimistic, is to keep into that routine of my own spiritual practice, my meditation, my reading. And again, it's taking ownership of what you put into your mind. What I did do, um, with the news piece, is because I did get a little compulsive with what I wanted to watch. I used to be a 911 dispatcher, so
Oh.
sometimes these events, like, I get back into a little bit of adrenaline rush
Uh-huh.
on big events, and I've done disaster response with the Canadian Red Cross, so I kind of would get into it. But what I started doing was limiting myself, and now I watch, and I will admit I do it likely daily. I will listen to our provincial update
Mhm.
just to see what our numbers are, and to see what they're doing for restrictions, like what am I supposed to do or not do.
Mhm.
And I might pay attention a little bit in the morning, but not very much at all.
Okay.
I get into my business, because what was happening is that I wasn't getting stuff done for my business because I was watching this
Yes.
press conference and that press conference, and these people were having, is this the right thing, the wrong thing? But I think, for the students, the routine's going to be different, but find one. Like,
Yes.
find
Okay.
one. And whether it's calling somebody at the same time, a different person maybe, but
Yeah.
phone calls, doing their, if the school works hard,
Mhm.
is just committing to that hour or 2 or 4, whatever it takes. But
Yes.
planning it, scheduling it, and just making it part of the routine. Um, yeah, I
Okay.
think it's a lot of self-responsibility.
The it's um having a routine. And I remember Jack started a 7-day challenge, or whatever number of challenges he started. And the first challenge he did was the hour of power.
Yeah.
20 minutes meditation, 20 minutes journaling or reading, and 20 minutes exercise. But my
Yeah.
exercise is at lunchtime and or in the afternoon, because I was showing you my bike earlier. So I couldn't do it in that early morning. But really having a routine, you know, I'm talking to you, I put in perfume just to feel good.
Yeah.
And having my, and it's your evening, it's my morning, I'm having my cup of coffee.
And I've got my bottle of water.
And I have my bottle of water as well, not wine, but just water. So it's really nice to talk to you and converse with you. Last question. So having gone through this, and I'm sure you've gone through other disasters in the past,
Yeah.
like recession and others. For the US, if you live in New York, the 9/11 disaster was significant for them. Here it's volcanic eruptions or earthquakes. This is an this is a, a disaster that will perhaps never happen to our children's children. We hope and
Yes.
pray. So, what realizations uh, have you have you learned from this situation?
Oh, I think one of the real basic, this might even just seem funny, um, but hand washing, and without realizing a couple of things. One is that I just thought that was something that people would know to do. But I used to have a home daycare when my kids were young, really young. And my mom told me one day, she said, you wash your hands so often that you could likely not wash them for a week and there still wouldn't be a germ on them. But I always had kids with runny noses. So hand washing has always been part of what I did. I was not perfect by any means, but just to have that come up worldwide to remind
Mm.
people to wash their hands to and how to wash their hands.
Mhm.
Uh,
Do you sing happy
yeah,
birthday?
yeah. Well, and the thing about like washing in
Yeah,
here,
here,
washing there, or making sure you
here, yeah,
back.
here.
Yeah. So it's that might seem funny, but uh, just that some of the basic things that we can do to keep ourselves well,
Yeah,
it, you know, it, I think it was just a, I don't know if it was a realization, but it just was cool to have it come back up again.
yes.
I think the world is small.
Mm-hmm.
We saw how fast the pandemic can go when people were traveling and moving, that it doesn't take long to move things around the world. But even when we are not moving, we're not traveling, we're connecting. We have that online presence and people are just on the other side of the computer. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that, our kids didn't have, my kids didn't have, I guess, when they were younger, but we didn't have, our parents didn't
Yeah,
have.
parents didn't have. Mm-hmm.
And I think, it was when you mentioned 9/11, that was one of the disasters that I responded to with the Canadian Red Cross. So I spent 3 weeks in New York City
Oh yeah.
in December of 2011 after helping. I was helping in the volunteer center
Uh-huh.
with volunteers. And when I think, I was I had this little flip phone,
Yeah, I
this one,
remember that.
was it a flip phone? I don't even know if it was a flip phone. It might have been before the flip phones. But it was, like there was no texting. There was no, I had to be careful about when I was going to phone because whatever, it likely cost $5 a minute or something on the cell
Mm-hmm.
tower for me to phone. So, there was none of this to connect with my family. And I was gone for 3 weeks. There was just that little phone
Yeah.
and an email. So, when I think about the strides that we have and the opportunities we have to stay connected, and even if I can't see my grandchildren who live 2 blocks away, we could do this. They're on Facebook Messenger, like Kids Messenger, so
Yes.
we could message there, and we get to stay connected. And one of the things that's happened is it's given us a chance to connect with other people. Um, I had in 1 week, and it wasn't the first week after all the restrictions came in. It was a couple of weeks later. But in 1 week, I had like 3 high school friends, like the ones that we were really tight with. One was the best man at our wedding, who like all of a sudden we're connecting.
Yeah.
We're on a Zoom call, we're talking, we always, we see each other on Facebook or whatever. But they just kind of showed up in my life. So reconnecting with people is a lot easier. And when we decide to do it, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I'm not so good at keeping up with all those people. And some of them are very dear to my heart. So I think that's one realization, is how much I miss them and how easy it is to reconnect with them. And I mean, kind of both personal and work-wise, the online opportunities for people are huge. And I think that demand isn't going to go away. I think there's going to be a huge shift into online businesses, if not 100% of their business, but a certain piece of their business. And the reason for, like, one of the cool reasons is because you can help people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And still go outside in your backyard to have your barbecue, or go have a family dinner. You don't have to plan for 3 days of travel,
Mm-hmm.
bookmarked with an event of some kind. So I don't think it's going to take away the live events. We're going to crave people. We're going to crave being with people soon, if not already.
Yes.
So I don't think we're going to lose a lot of that, but I think there's going to be a lot more happening for people online. I see lots of opportunities for that.
I just realized that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Base food, clothing, shelter. That's the basic. That's the physiological need. Now the students added this, and now I agree with it. Internet is a need.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to communicate with others if you don't have the connection. And that is one thing that for our government in a third world country is realizing. Having this connectivity now with this pandemic is just essential.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for all the discussions and conversations that we've had. I enjoyed our conversation. Would there be any last parting words that you'd like to say?
Last parting words is just get up and keep doing something every day, and be grateful that we've got our food, we have our shelter, and governments and other organizations are doing their best to look after us. I truly believe that, and we're going to get through this. We're getting through this. There's no doubt about that.
We will get through this. We will. And that is a certainty for us. We just have to determine that we will get through this. And don't watch too much news.
Don't watch too much. Exactly.
Okay, so thank you, Lorna. Thank you for spending time with me today.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was a pleasure.
Okay, so your episode 1 of season 2, just like in Netflix. Bye.
Bye.